today. I'm Nancy Campfield. I'm the president of the Historical Society, and I'm so happy to see you all here today. We used to do this on Wednesday at 10 o'clock for years, and people would say, oh, I would love to see this person or that person, but I can't do the week. So we decided to give Saturdays a try and see if that looks like it works better. So I'm sorry you're a little crushed here today. We're still acclimating to it. And at this time, I'd like to take a moment and introduce, we are so blessed to have a brand new museum director. Her name is Jennifer Carey. In our next newsletter, we'll feature Jennifer. And Jennifer, would you come up and say howdy? Thank you.
Thank you for coming. It's a pleasure to be here. It's been really fairly new, actually, just a few days, I think. But so far, I've been really impressed with the board and the staff and what everybody's doing here. And so I'm really excited to get, moving into the next phase of everything. So thank you for coming. This is, the speaker series is really the brainchild and the hard work of Vince Rossi, most of you probably know, and he has he's our great historian and has put together a wonderful program. And if any of you think of other speakers that you know of or think people might be interested in, contact him and he can put that together. So.
My name is Jennifer, and I appreciate the introduction. I just mentioned we've had the speakers program for a while. I just recently assumed authority over signing up speakers, so I want to give credit to the people who have been running it previously. And though I'm very happy at the turnout today, this is a really good turnout today, and I'm very glad to see it. And it really affirms our decision to go to the weekends. And I can mention that just to preview upcoming speakers in April, we're going to have a program on the history of the San Diego County Fair with the PR representative there who will be speaking on the fair's history. And in May, tentatively, we've signed Mr. Richard Carrico, who will be here to speak about and to sign copies of the latest edition of his book, Strangers in Stolen Land, which is the history of San Diego County Indian tribes. And so we're looking forward to that, and I invite you all to keep that in mind. We'll have more notices posted on the website about that. Today, we're very happy to have Ms. Faye Jonason speaking, telling the Camp Pendleton story, which is a very integral part of the county's history, both from Rancho days and its days from the 40s on as the Marine days. And we're looking forward to hearing from her. She is the museum division officer, and she clarified that for me as essentially the museum director for Camp Pendleton. He's been doing that for 19 years, and it's up to maintain the facility there. And we're just kind of talking about the problems of dealing with historical societies and the audience, and it seems we have a lot in common. And we look forward to her talk today, and without further ado, I'd like to introduce Faye Jonason.
Good morning, everybody. Good morning. As you see, we're bringing greetings from Marine Corps Base Camp Pendleton. At the time that this card was made, it was not Marine Corps Base. It was actually Marine Barracks Camp Pendleton, because we were part of MCRD, which is the Marine Corps Recruit Depot in San Diego. It's around 1940s, this postcard, and it is typical of the time. In 1769, we had Gaspar de Portola coming through California. As you know, this whole region was developed partly because of his travels with his padres and his troops coming up from Mexico. He had some interesting words, and I always tell when I give the professional military education portion of our tours, I give them to Marines. I tell them, really, our early history is based on a military action. Because after all, who was Gaspar de Portola? He was a capitan in Spanish military, and he was given orders by the King of Spain, his commander-in-chief. And he's coming to California because he's told, hey, now that you've gone to Mexico and done the first thing we wanted you to do, which was to get rid of those silly Padres that you took out there the first time, we want to replace them with the Franciscans, and they did. They were Jesuit priests at first. And he replaced them with the Franciscans because they were a little bit more into making citizens for Spain and not so much being nice to the neophytes. So he came up through Baja and brought up, I guess there were 2 or 3 ships, and they lost a ship, and they lost all kinds of people along the way. But he was given new orders, and his new orders were, go north, look for Monterey Bay. I don't know what they called it back then, but they look for Monterey Bay, essentially, and to find that bay, because that's where we want to harbor our ships. Well, if you've ever been to Monterey, you know it's foggy. I have a feeling they met with a lot of fog on their many trips up through that area. They never found it until about the 3rd trip, and 100 men lost later. Okay? But in the meantime, as he's stopping along and making his stops along the way to find this harbor, and even going up as far as San Francisco and establishing up there, he comes back down here. And as they're moving along that trail, that El Camino Real that we all talk about, we see everywhere, is that the real one? Or is that some one that somebody named, We all look at those streets that way. But when we see that property back then, it had natural grass that we don't have anymore. All the people who come from the East Coast and come out here and say, California doesn't have anything green, and they look at our hills. I always thought it was green. I was born here. But I always thought it was green. But when they come, they see, brown. It's brown. I had a lady from South Carolina, she said, honey, I don't know what you're talking about. It is brown. Okay. So anyway, so that's what they saw. But back then it was natural grasses that have since been taken over by the cattle and horses that came with Portola and his group. Dropped their little droppings along the way, and thereby planted seeds of ryegrass. And the ryegrass is very powerful. It overtook a lot of the grasses that you see, or could see back then. So we have a lot of ryegrass now. And that's how it happened. And also we have a story, and I have never been able to really substantiate it with any real, and maybe one of you historians can tell me. I would gladly take that back and put it in my books. But the story is that why you see wild mustard along the coast of California is because the Padres supposedly dropped those seeds along the way to make sure that they could come back. And so, of course, we've got wild mustard along the coast. I still have no substantiation. Anyway, with Gaspar de Portola came the Spanish flag. With Gaspar de Portola are the stops and the Padres with him. And as they stopped, they basically looked at their ecumenical watches and said, today is St. Margaret's Day. And they named the land that is now Camp Pendleton, Santa Margarita, after St. Margaret of Antioch. Okay? Now, of course, that land, and this is still Camp Pendleton, believe it or not, that land was, and I didn't tell you in that last picture, the last picture was taken in 1939 as the Marine Corps base, well, before the Marine Corps base, as the families were deciding how to divvy up the properties. You got the Floods, the O'Neills, and then part of the O'Neills was Baumgartners, trying to divvy up all that land, and they got people to come out and figure out what it was going to be valued at. And when the Marine Corps started looking at it, actually it was before the Marine Corps, it was DOD, started looking at it, the Army started looking at it first. And they looked at it, and had a real estate agent go around and look at all the ranchos in the area, and look at the Rancho Santa Margarita, and figured out the value between all those other ranchos and the Rancho Santa Margarita, and figured out it's worth about $35 an acre, maybe? Not, but anyway, that's what they did. And so today you have the same land, which was totally unoccupied except for a couple of houses, is now still only 92% open and 8% occupied. So this painting I found the other day, and I just thrilled to have found it. It's from the Autry Museum. It's courtesy of the California Historical Society, and they have a large collection of paintings there, and some of them are by James Walker, who in 1870 did this oil painting. What is outstanding about this picture to me, now I get corny and weird and pick on things that I think are great, as maybe you do. This is great because I've always been told the story, and you have to understand, I came in from the African American Museum in Los Angeles and came in and took this job, right? So I don't know anything. I'm trained by all my docents. All my volunteers are training me on how they give their tour. And then I'm starting to research all of it to make sure it's backed up with something. Anyway, they tell the story about how in the early days, now I hope none of you are big, staunch supporters of the SPCA, because back in those days they didn't have that. Okay, they weren't into protecting the native plants and animals, although we are today. Okay, Camp Pendleton certainly is today. But back then, entertainment. What was entertainment? What is it you did with your time? You know, if you're raising cattle, they're out there eating grass. What are you doing? Okay, what are you doing? So you're doing things like gambling. You're doing things like singing and dancing and having parties. If you have a wedding, it's 2 weeks long. Okay, you don't do small stuff. You don't do this hour thing that we do now. You do it between this hour and this hour. Sure. Back then, one of the things you did, a lot of these guys are fancy landowners. They're dons. And they're out for sport. And then what are they doing? They're roping a bear. They're capturing the bear. The thing's called Roping the Bear, Santa Margarita Rancho, Juan Forrester. So Juan Forrester's in there somewhere. I still haven't figured out which one he is. Could be the guy on the white horse, or it could be the guy next to him on the brown horse. I don't know. But he was a young man at the time. And the neat thing about it is they talked about in those days to entertain themselves, they would rope a bear, they'd put him in the corral, tie one of his paws. On the other end of that rope, the rope was tied to the hoof of a bull. And then you take bets. Okay, that's how it was done. That's how it was done. By 1821, Mexico had independence from Spain, and we have some of our characters. Some of our characters are related to some of your characters. Pio Pico is interesting. You know, you get really, really bad vibes from some people about him. And on the other side of this coin, I just got through finding his narrative, Pio Pico's narrative. If you haven't found it, please go and look it up because it has a ton of history in it and an interesting perspective. He tells some truths about himself and how he did things. Understand, in his time, the only way you got ahead politically was to lead a revolution of some kind. So there were tons during the Mexican occupation of California, during the time that the Mexican flag flew here. The only way for you to advance politically was to have a revolution. And so there were revolutions and counter-revolutions. It was just the way of the day. It's kind of like 60s and marches. We had marches for everything, remember? They still do, but not like they did in the 60s, really. But anyway, back then, it was revolutions. That was what they did. And so he led a couple of revolutions and managed to figure things out. And in 1841, before he was governor, he got a land grant from Governor Alvarado, who was probably related by that time. Between him and his brother Andres, he and his brother got this land grant, and it was for 89,742 acres. They were big on this stuff, weren't they? So anyway, he got all that. And that was then the Rancho Santa Margarita. Actually, it was, I think, called the Rancho Santa Onofre y Santa Margarita. Okay? And later on, it became, it wasn't until the end that it became Rancho Santa Margarita y Las Flores, and it still included Santa Onofre. Now, did you know that Santa Onofre is named after an Egyptian? Yeah, Saint Onofrius was actually an Egyptian-born person, and when they made his name into Greek or Latin, it was Onofrius, and then by the time he got to the United States, it's Onofre. And then you'll have Marines who call it Onofre. All the same thing, all the same thing. Okay, so then, anyway, he, in 1844, finally acquires Las Flores and adds that to the name, and he acquires it. He doesn't really, he gets the Indians, that was a Pueblo Libre. Figure, okay, here you've got Spanish government, we build up the missions, we have the Indians come to the missions, the Indians come to the missions, not everybody else. If you have a rancho, Padre comes to your house, comes to your rancho, and does the marriages and the baptisms and all that stuff for you, conducts the services in your little chapel or whatever, okay? You don't go to the mission because that's for the Indians. Okay? It wasn't the way we think of it. And, you know, we naturally think that that was a center for everybody. No, it wasn't. And so, when it came to Las Flores was a place that they put when they became secularized, when the missions no longer were missions. They were supposed to close down. That was the intent by the Spanish people, and when the Mexican people took over the missions, that was the intent then, was to close down the missions because they weren't needed to make those natives into citizens for whatever who was in charge, right? So, in 1844, he gets Las Flores, but he's getting it from the Indians who live there. The Native Americans who live there are given that land. They're given 50 acres, and it's that Las Flores property, and they're easily talked out of their property. Partly, think about it, culturally they're different, because culturally they believe you can't own land anyway, it belongs to everybody. It didn't belong to any one person. Okay, if that's what you want to do. They didn't understand what was going to happen next. But anyway, that's what happened. And when he added that property, it became 440 acres total. So he went from the 89,000 to the 133,000, and eventually, lost the whole thing anyway in the gamble. As you know, there was a horse race between him. If you go to LA, there's two major streets that you'll remember probably. There's Pico Boulevard and Sepulveda Boulevard. Sepulveda, some people will correct me to say. I'm not Spanish, so I don't always pronounce things correctly. Anyway, Sepulveda was a Don. He was an important, powerful man. It's the way the British always called their knights sirs. Sir so-and-so, well, Don means the same thing in Spanish. So Don Sepulveda, Don Pio Pico, decided to have a horse race and put down lots of money on it. Common to do. Remember, this is something you do to occupy yourself. They didn't have the casinos we've got, okay? They didn't have Pac-Man. They didn't, well, I'm dating myself. They didn't have all the electronic games. They didn't have baseball. Okay, they didn't have all that stuff. But the thing to do was to gamble. So they bet on their horses. Pio Pico had a nice, big, powerful Californiano horse, and he would, always win the races for him. Always. Never lost. So he bet the whole ranch, the cattle, the horses, the everything. Of course he's going to win. Who would think he wouldn't? All right. Well, Sepulveda brought a filly from Spain, light, small, she's fast. And she ran her heart out. She hurt herself, really. She bleeding at the nostrils at the end of that race. They were fighting so hard to win. But they won. And he lost that rancho. Well, it went into what they did in those days. You had a holding company that would hold your bets. So there is this holding company that holds his bet and holds Sepulveda's bet, and of course now he owes money to be able to retrieve the house back. Well, he doesn't care. He's got lots of other property, and he didn't care and he didn't care. He wasn't there that much. So here we have at the same time, or very soon, we have the Americans coming. The Americans are coming. The Americans are coming. So anyway, the Americans came and fought in the Battle of San Pasqual. You have Pio Pico having a problem. He's the last governor of Mexican California, Alta California. And because of that, you know, he's a symbol. Even if he's great or not great, doesn't matter. He's a symbol of that government that the Americans want to take over. And he's also a symbol to his Californianos who feel, are you going to take care of us or not? So they both wanted his head on a platter. So he had to get out of there. He had to get out of Dodge. And his brother-in-law, Don Forster, the guy in the middle here, did that for him, hid him, allowed him to escape. Okay? Now, Don Forster left Liverpool when he was 16 years old. So we have some similarity between your captains, Snook and my guy here, Forster. They both came from England. He was one of 7 sons, and the uncle came out and said, hey, I've got a shipping business down there in the same areas, Mexico, Peru, California. I have a shipping business. I need one of your sons to help me. And Don Forster went out there and came out here and did that for him. Went down to South America, was down there for a while, came up into Mexico, captained a ship for a little bit. I mean, he was young, he was only 18 by the time he did very much. I mean, you can imagine, you know, those stories that we read when we were children were always about once upon a time, there was a little boy who grew up and he went out into the world to find his fortune. Back in those days, they actually did that. They left home. They may not have ever gone back to, I don't know if he ever went back to England or not. I'd have to really start reading the old newspapers because they announced every trip we ever made. So, but, you know, basically you're leaving your country and you're going into finding your fortune. That's what that man did. By the time he was 22, he was married to Isadora. Isadora was Pio Pico's sister. He married Isadora, and he became the harbor master for San Pedro Harbor. And he, there you go. And he moved to San Juan Capistrano in 1844, got the property. Now you understand, by that time, 1845, 1844, his brother-in-law Pio had a lot of, oh yeah, you lost all this stuff here. No, we don't want to do that. Still trying to advertise to me while I'm working here. Okay, so anyway, he moved into San Juan Capistrano. He got that property because of his brother-in-law. His brother-in-law's governor of Alta California. Gee, last governor of Mexico, California. And he is able to get the mission along with a friend. They go into together because he's young still. I mean, really relatively young. And they get into buying the mission. And he moves into what became later the gift shop. Now is going back to a museum display of where he lived. But back then it became a gift shop. A lot of you have gone through that gift shop over different times. Anyway, they lived there for almost 20 years. And got the property for about $710. Not too bad. Not too bad. He was a businessman. He did a lot of things. And eventually bought out that gambling debt of Pio Pico and got the Rancho Santa Margarita. Okay, so he had lots of property all over. He had it down in San Diego, he had it up north, he had it all the way up to Trabuco Canyon. If you go into Orange Canyon, Trabuco Canyon is a major development up there. He had Mission Viejo, he had all that. So that was all part of this property. I have maps showing the Rancho Santa Margarita is spread. So by the time he got it. Now going back to Pio, just thought I'd let you know some things. Besides, you know, he became, after Mexico lost California to the Americans, he got active in the community and still in politics. He actually served as a councilman in Los Angeles, which I didn't know until recently. There's a large 3-story, it was the only 3-story building in Los Angeles for a long time. It was the Pico House, a hotel. It's still standing. And he helped to establish Standard Oil Company, which I thought was interesting. It's because he owned property. And his uncles, by the way, owned a lot of Simi Valley. So Picos, even though that they were not given much quarter once the Americans took over, if you look at the who's who of his time, you can find Belmont Forrester, because he's John Forrester, right? He's a British guy, fits in. Pio Pico is this guy, he had all kinds of deformities on his face because of disease and things, and even though he was a big politician, everybody knew him, he was influential, he fell out of favor. By the time he died, he was penniless and poor. So by 1864, Belmont Forrester takes over that debt that's his brother-in-law's. And he builds the rest of the house. And when you come to the Rancho Santa Margarita today, you can see the rest of the house, pretty much as he built it. Still there. He had a son, third guy there, Marcus Forrester, who got married to an Avila, Guadalupe Avila. You know, you see all these names. There weren't that many people back then. Everybody was related to everybody. Okay. Before he got that property, when Pio got the Las Flores property, and before Marcus Forrester got his house built on that same property at Las Flores, there was a Battle of San Pascual, which you have uniforms of some of the people that might have fought there. Battle of San Pascual, actually, no, that wouldn't have been a uniform. Excuse me, I take that back. I got that wrong. It was actually between two governor hopefuls wanting to be governor before Pio Pico. And they were fighting who was going to get to do it. So I amassed my guys, you amass your guys, and we're going to meet up there at the Estancia at Las Flores. And they did, somewhere inside the Estancia, somewhere outside the Estancia, and they're pulled up. They're, want my guy to be the governor, right? Understand, like I said, everybody's related to everybody else. All right? Accidentally, somebody shoots off the cannon. Oh, that's it. That's the end of that. That's it. It was a one-shot battle of Las Flores. And part of it, I believe, is because they're all doggone related and their wives give them what for? I mean, anything happened. So that's why that was a one-shot battle of Las Flores. But anyway, he gets Las Flores later on, 1864. He becomes, excuse me, did I say 1868? He builds, the house is being built for him and his wife. It's a wedding present. And he lives there for some time. He has the traditional barbecues for 500 at a time. He has rodeos. Commonplace was over in Las Flores. In fact, if you read, you know, a lot of where we get our history from is from the lawsuits. And in the Forrester versus Pico or Pico versus Forrester case, I always have it backwards, that tells us a lot about what they did and when they did it. They talk about a lot of rodeos at Las Flores. That's what they did. And the purpose of the rodeos? Huh? Entertainment was part of it. Part of it was when you had your cattle out to pasture, you let them go out in all the pastures. All the pastures. Belong, you know, let everybody use all the pastures. Wasn't a problem. So the only way you could figure out which cows were yours is you'd have a rodeo. And a rodeo meant a lot of people came forward, helped you out. When they helped you out, it's kind of like the old barn raisins you hear about. They come together, they brand the calves, and how they brand the calves, know which calves are theirs, is by which mother it's following out. She's got a brand on her, be mine, so that must be mine. And then there were a few loose ones, usually the owner of the property got those. Kind of interesting, but we learned that from the court hearings. Anyway, so that was common. He had bullfights, and he actually had Andalusian horses that he used in the horse races that were took place there. Later on, he moved to San Juan Capistrano. So we have next, John Forrester has the property of the Rancho Santa Margarita in Las Flores. He tries lots of things. Oh my gosh, he's really a businessman. One of the reasons he marries Isadora, who's a little bit older than him, maybe not so good looking. He has 6 kids, I think, with her. 3 of them survive. And Marcus, of course, is one of them. And he, I don't know, he has his problems, but he tries to have the railroad go through, and he doesn't want to go through there. It ends up going through the Rancho itself and going out to Fallbrook, which failed because of the river flooding. Hello. He tried having near San Onofre, where the power plant is now, he tried to establish a town called Forester City. There's actually a plot map showing where everybody lived. And I believe the surfers go to a place called Churches, which we think may have been one of the churches that was established for that little town. There was also a schoolhouse. I get stories every so often. Someone will call me and say, "Hey, Mrs. Jonason, my aunt went to that school." Or my great aunt went to that school. I still don't know. I've seen one picture of it. I don't know much more than that, where exactly it was located. But there was a Forester City for a very short time. Don Forster died. When he died, the family says, "Okay, we got to get rid of this. This is too much to manage." You know, they had expenses. And so they sold the Rancho Santa Margarita y Las Flores to 2 fellows, the guy in the buggy and the guy standing next to the buggy. The guy in the buggy is right here, Richard O'Neill Sr. And the man standing next to the buggy is James Flood. James Flood gets his money from the Comstock Lode, Silver Mine King, helps to start Profit Bank, does lots of things, lives in San Francisco, builds a building that's still standing today that in, what is it, the 1906 flood and fire or whatever, the earthquake in San Francisco. Yeah, his building's the only one still, well, one of the few still standing in his area because he built it like 3 years before. You know, he just didn't build it. And so it was newfangled. Hopefully they'll come to a tour someday. So anyway, he built that building and it was still standing. So that was James Flood. So they got together on a handshake agreement, got the land at the Rancho Santa Margarita, and the little guy between the two is O'Neill's grandson. His last name's Baumgartner. It's O'Neill's daughter and married a Baumgartner in San Francisco, and that's their little kid. He'd come down and visit all the time. When you get the book, Rancho Santa Margarita Remembered, it is written with his oral history, basically, when he grows up. So that's who we have. And these guys, James Flood was a bar owner. He used to get his meat from O'Neill, who was a meat market manager. And he would listen at the bar what was going on, and that's how he found out about the sale of the property. And like I said, on the handshake agreement, they ended up splitting the property. Now, next to the house, we have an old picture that we got from the family recently. These are the O'Neill women. They're standing up on the hill, facing on a cross, facing the ranch house. So if you're at the ranch house, you look across the Grip Boulevard. There's a big hill, and there's a cross up there still. Not one that's controversial at all. So anyway, it doesn't look like this anymore because it had been rebuilt many times. And it's a big cross. We call it the hospitality cross because by those early days during the time of Pico and Forrester, how you knew that there was a place that you could stop and stay overnight and have a fresh horse the next morning was that cross. Because you look around, there's nothing around. There's no airplanes, no helicopters, none of the stuff we got now. No roads really to speak of, dirt roads. So you look at that and you say, oh, okay, well, that's how you knew where you could stay. And you could travel, in the time of Pico, you could travel from San Diego to San Francisco and back again by stopping at all these places that had markers. The families would put you up, and they all competed with each other to have the best hospitality dog on it. Absolutely. The story is that Pio Pico would put gold coins on your nightstand, so when you woke up, you didn't go away empty-handed. Okay? Trying to outdo each other is really something, you know? Better than Joneses, I tell you. So, okay, we'll go to the next one. So we have the Rancho Santa Margarita. We have lima beans, we have cattle, and of course this is an old picture of the ranch house, which no longer looks like that. Very rudimentary. You can see they're slaughtering the cow right behind the house. You're going to take it in and feed all the cattle. And we have an early branding picture. Next. Oops, that one. Sing Young was a Chinese cook for the family. And we have a room called the President's Room. And we call it that because President Roosevelt stopped there when they were naming the base after Pendleton, excuse me. And he stopped in this room. But this room was vacant when he saw it. This is during the time of the O'Neills. They actually used the rooms because they didn't have closets built into the rooms in those days. You had armoires. So any room could be a bedroom, any room could be a dining room. This was a dining room. Now we have change. We have change because there's what? Bombing of Pearl Harbor. We have change because we are now at war. And so hurry up, find property that we can use for supporting our war against Japan. That's a Pacific War. Oh my gosh, what are we going to do? We don't have any real bases in California. They're going to train people how to make landings, how to go ashore, and all that sort of thing. And DOD looks at Camp Pendleton, what is now Camp Pendleton. Back then it wasn't called that. Rancho Santa Margarita was. They looked at it because General Pendleton had the idea that this property was a nice big property and would be great for training Marines. Well, they didn't listen to him. They sent out the Army first. The Army looked at this and said, well, you know, not so much for training people on tanks, you know, thing. Not what we want. So, Marine Corps said, we'll take it, and they did. So, next picture, please. So you can see this is Vanderbilt Boulevard before and after. Same road. And these cliffs, the mountains that you see there are cliffs. The railroad used to sit right in that first lane on the right and go right up against the mountain. We had stories from the Baumgartner kids. They used to throw pebbles down the smokestacks as they come around the corner. Next picture. So we have President Roosevelt coming. And President Roosevelt's at the ranch house. And here he's getting a couple words from one of the cowboys. Here's a gift of a lariat we made for you. Lariata being very important. Lariata is where we get the word lariat in English, or lasso, or whatever you can call it. And he tells them the importance. We have the governor of California and the general who's in charge of the whole region. Vogel, General Vogel, and Governor Olson are in this photograph. Okay. We end up building the base, and what do? We put Marines in tents, because we can't build it fast enough. There are some barracks at Main Side, what we call Main Side, which is closer south on the base, and closer north, we don't have buildings. We put up tents, and I get stories from the veterans when I collect their oral histories. They'll tell me, oh yeah, I was there. They made us put up tents. And they put up tents, and we had a problem. You know, if it started to rain real bad, the hill would slide down, and so we had to pick up the tent and move it up the hill. All right? And the other thing they had to worry about was that stove. I happened to inherit a couple of those stoves. They're huge. And the thing was, this tent had a stovepipe that's going up through the tent, right? So you had to have one guy who was kind of good at containing that fire. He had to make it so it was warm enough for everybody to be kind of comfortable inside the tent. This is their living quarters, going to sleep in it, right? But he had to also be a good policeman to make sure that that stovepipe didn't light that tent on fire. So that he would watch the red go up the pipe, whoops, got to do something to douse it or something. So anyway, that's the story on that. You can see they're cleaning their rifles and they're getting ready and they're training for war. Later on, those became Quonset huts up in Talega. We now have Quonset huts, but started out as tents. So we had 3 tent camps, 1, 2, and 3. Navajo code talkers were trained in various places, including Camp Pendleton. This is a photograph of them at Camp Pendleton. And of course, we're preparing for the Pacific War. By 1943, well, by this time, John Basil was showing his Medal of Honor. He had a Medal of Honor from his service at Guadalcanal, as did John Vandergrift, the general who became Commandant of the Marine Corps, Edson, who renamed Edson Range after, and Basilone and Mitchell Page. All 4 on the same day. We have a photograph of them all standing and getting their Medals of Honor on the same day. It really is an incredible picture because we named so many things on our days after those 4 gentlemen. He ended up going back, and this is an article saying, hey, he's going back to the war zone. Because what he'd been doing, once he got his Medal of Honor, they looked for these guys and tried to yank them out and parade them around the country to raise money for the war effort. Buy war bonds. Okay. So he went back to serve with his troops, and he was killed on Iwo Jima. For that service, he got the Navy Cross. Women Marines, by the way, came on the base in 1943, and they helped to relieve the, in the Marine Corps you have, and I don't know how they're listed in the Army, I imagine it's the same, MOSs, they're military occupational classifications. Specialties, thank you. I knew I was going to screw that up. Anyway, all the acronyms change, by the way. All the things, I get people come in and they say, where's, and they'll give me an acronym. And I have to look it up. No, it's not called that anymore. It's now called this. But anyway, that stayed the same, MOS. So his, so yeah, their MOSs would send them to where they had to go. And one of the MOSs was to be a clerk. You know, and to do all the reports. Well, if you put women in those positions in World War II, which is what they did, then you could relieve those Marines to go to war and stand in the front lines. Now I want you to notice, this is 1946, right after the war. 1946 is an incredible year for Camp Pendleton. It's kind of hidden in the pages of our Scout newspapers, but if you go through those old Scout newspapers, 1946 was a lot of neat things going on. Everybody wanted to play the baseball team at Camp Pendleton. I want you to know our baseball team played against the St. Louis Browns. They played against the Padres. They played against USC, UCLA. Everybody wanted to play against them. Why? Because all the Marines were considered heroes at the end of the war, right? We want to rub elbows with them. We want to do stuff. We even had Helen Keller come to our hospital on Camp Pendleton to talk to the Marines in the hospital beds. I mean, it was interesting how important 1946 became. In 1946, we started these motorcycle police. And I want you to bring your attention, you can see the first motorcycle, you can't see the rider, but you can see the end of his fender, and you see where it says military police, and it has the T&O brand. That came with the cattle that O'Neill's replaced the lost cattle from the problems that the foresters had when they had a drought and they bought the property, right? They had to replace the cattle, so they went to Texas and got all this cattle. It already had this brand on it. They had adopted it, and now Camp Pendleton had adopted it as part of their family. I also want you to notice something else. Shoulder patches, which you're probably not going to care about, but these shoulder patches no longer are being worn by military today, by Marines today. Back then, it designated what unit you were part of. So here, the first one was part of 1st Marine Division. Second one's part of a group. You know, each one had a division or whatever that they were part of, proudly showing who they were part of. And that doesn't exist anymore. Also in 1946, Camp Pendleton became a permanent installation, thanks to Commandant Vandegrift. He established Camp Pendleton as a permanent installation. Now, we don't know what permanent means in this world anymore, but for all intents and purposes, that's what it was, and it also helped to establish the Marine Corps better. Sands of Iwo Jima was a movie that was made on Camp Pendleton, and you see John Wayne back there, he's standing at the reviewing stand. The movie was made in 1949. Next. I'm going to hit it one more time. Okay. This is Reckless. Reckless was a sorrel horse from Korea, purchased by the Marines to help carry the ammunition from, you can see the ammunition there, carry the ammunition from the camp to the gunner. And here she is being awarded promotion by the commandant, came out from Quantico, to make her Staff Sergeant Reckless. She was retired as Staff Sergeant Reckless. I don't know if she's the highest ranking animal, but now we're trying to get a monument to her so that but this was her retirement parade that she saw. Next. Did you skip? Oh no, this is the main gate. Main gate became a very popular image, and everybody knew what this was once upon a time. And you can see some of the early cars that went through the gate. Go ahead. And the Ranch House Chapel is the oldest. It's on the Ranch House complex, so if you come to visit, you get the Ranch House, the bunkhouse, and the chapel. Chapel's the oldest building on the base. We believe 1810. We think it was a winery to begin with for the Mission San Luis Rey. We know that Pio Pico and his brother lived there for a period of time waiting for the house, the 2 rooms of the house that they built, to be built. Next. And it was because of 40 years ago in 1975, another important year, 1946 and 1975. It seemed to be really big dates in Camp Pendleton's history. 1975 is when the tours started of the Ranch House complex, and it was because the general wanted to host the community there. And so he asked officers' wives to learn a routine and to give a tour through the ranch house. And they point out some of our stained. Now this stained glass window ceased to exist, and this is the replacement actually. Ceased to exist at the 1993 flood of Camp Pendleton. A lot of the windows were washed out. This one was never found, so the docents have paid. The original window cost $250 back in the 1940s, was replaced at the cost of about $6,000. So anyway, the docents will be celebrating their 40th anniversary this year. And the St. George window is one of 9 stained glass windows in the chapel. The docents, here's 3 of our great docents, and they're in the cowboy room, telling you a little bit about what's going on there. In addition to that, we have, go ahead to the next slide, the 40th anniversary of the Vietnamese and Cambodian refugees who came to California, first to Camp Pendleton and then to 3 other sites. Camp Pendleton was only one of 4 entry camps that helped these refugees to come and get settled, get trained, get passes, whatever they needed, support families, sponsor families, and so on, to get settled in the United States. So they went to Camp Pendleton first, and then there were others that went to Fort Chaffee in Arkansas, Eglin Air Force Base in Florida, and Fort Indian Gap in Pennsylvania were the 4 places that they went to. There were, go ahead. There were 50,400 refugees. They erected, the Marines and civilians and sailors erected 958 tents. There were also Quonsets. They used about 140 Quonset huts. And today in San Diego County, we have 37,000 of these refugees living here. That's ringing around the rosy, by the way. This is the way the Lost Forest House looked like before we started restoring it in 2000. You can see a lot of problems with it. The adobe was having serious issues. Believe it or not, the people repairing it are from the University of Vermont, specialists in architectural restoration. And they love coming to California out of the snow. And they do that, and you fix the building up. It is now, now a National Historic Landmark since the 1960s. Some of our people in our history at Las Flores, Victoria McGee, Henry McGee, they came out of, actually lived over near Palma Casino and moved into, leased the property from the O'Neills for a long time. And later on they had a relative who became the lima bean queen. Jane McGee was the lima bean queen of Southern California there on that property. And then you have Cliff May. Cliff May might be significant to some of you here. I don't know if any of you live in a Cliff May house. But Cliff May used to spend his summers and his weekends visiting his family at the Las Flores Adobe. And he was impressed by that kind of courtyard type of structure. A low building with going around a garden. And that became, in his mind, a ranch-style house. He went to school, he went to college, but he became a designer. There were two fields you could go into. You could become a designer, or you could become an architect. He was not schooled as an architect, although later on in life, they decided to honor him and say, you're an architect, but he never regarded himself that. He was a designer, and he designed the ranch-style home that was advertised so much in what's the magazine I'm thinking of? Sunset Magazine, thank you. Sunset Magazine would feature his buildings, would feature his homes that he designed and promoted them, so that we all are familiar with ranch-style homes. And these are the docents, and you can see the veranda has been put back at the Las Flores Adobe. It is a two-story Monterey-style adobe, unique in that way, why it is a National Historic Landmark. And this gives you a map, shows you where Las Flores is, and shows you where the Santa Margarita National Historic Site is. And I am at the end of my talk, and before my troops move away with me, I wanted to let you know of the other things that we do. We have an archive that has become even better in Building 1160 of the base. It's in the base commander's building. We also have a mechanized, Marine Corps Mechanized Museum, which features vehicles from 1942 onward, although we have on loan to us a couple of Model T Marine Corps vehicles. By and large, we focus on 42 onward, so we have Humvees, we have rocket trucks, we have trenchers, and all kinds of interesting things that I'm still learning about because that's not my field of study. But anyway, so we have participated in parades and events where we have brought out our vehicles and shared them with the community. And of course, we give tours. First Tuesday, second Wednesday, and third Thursday of the month, docents come out and give tours of the Rancho Santa Margarita. The Mechanized Museum is open most days, Monday through Friday, and you can come in and see those things. Any questions?
Do we have to make an appointment?
Yes, it's preferred that you make an appointment. Now, the second Wednesday, you can show up and there'll be people there. If you come on the first Tuesday and the third Thursday, chances are nobody will be there unless you've already made an appointment. And it's better to make an appointment because we can only really handle 50 at a time, maybe up to 80 at the most, but we have to really know that you're coming in order to have docents who come from all over the county who come there to volunteer.
Would that be on a website?
It's on, the docents have a new website. It's the same as Rancho Santa Margarita in Las Flores. It's rsmylf.org. I hope that's not too hard. Yeah?
Faye, we may own something that belongs to you, but you can't have it. Let me please explain. I'm on the display committee, as some of you know, and in the back shelf box, you'll see this lance point.
Oh, okay.
That I won't go into detail how we got it, but it's ours. We're going to now. And there's another lance point that was found in 1960 by Harold Jessup on his farm up the valleyway. It was identified as being in the battle 1846.
Oh, wow.
Well, I was told that down in San Diego at the History Center, there is another lance point. Okay? So I went down there, got the holy cheese and they let me in the room there, and I took a dumb picture of this thing, and it's a little shorter. But the mystery is, I put it on a scale, and they weigh exactly the same weight.
Wow.
No, that's not the clinch. I'm going to give you all this, by the way, because you're going to do the work a little bit on it. Here's a book that you have. I've never been in the base library. Base library, core base, blah, 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 okay? There's a book called The Story of Camp Pendleton and the Famous California Rancho, Santa Margarita. In the book, about page 30,
It's not Marines of the Margarita.
huh?
It's not called Marines of the Margarita?
Well, I'll give you this too, but
Okay.
it says, the story of Camp Pendleton and the Leatherneck who trained at a famous California rancho by Whitty, named at Santa
that's
Margarita, the book by Copley and so forth. But you never think about it, and that's why you're going to go to work and I'll portray you something. It says here, page 34 somewhere, Pico's Army, known as Los Galgos, or Greyhounds, maintained headquarters at the Rancho Santa Margarita. You know that. In fact, by the tree out front, which they had to take out, they actually planned the battle under that tree.
Which is why the stone is over at the Battle of San Pasqual
That's right.
site. And we have a new stone.
Huh?
We made a new stone.
Yeah.
It's near the chapel.
But it says,
People
where
like to
they,
make plaques, they do. They like to plant them everywhere.
Pico's Army hung out at Rancho Santa Margarita, where they obtained food, supplies, and fashioned lances out of laurel and ash, tipped with long, sharp swords like this.
Okay.
So here's the hypothesis, that they were manufactured, it says they were manufactured, and you have a docent, a buddy of mine, a peer buddy, Richard Meyer. Yeah. He's here with Richard, because I see him once a month up at Central. Anyway, make a long, I'm boring you on this thing. But if you happen to have another one, I'd like to come out and measure it, weigh it, and see
You
if it's
don't.
started with 4.
I'll look
Right,
to see if we
please
have
look.
them in something else, but nothing on display.
Now, here's my card, and here's the deal. If you find something, information, if you agree to be a peer reviewer, somebody that know what that is, for
I know
a
what it is.
display we're building over on the other side of Mule Hill called the California Forward Position.
Oh,
We got
okay.
the Anglo story, it's all over the place, but no one has the Cali. So that's, we're going to build 27 displays on the Valley of it.
Wonderful.
Here's this stuff, and the deal is, if you do all that for me, I will pick my daughter up at Sacramento, she teaches 3D printing, and we'll print you a CD, and we'll give you a list of materials as a trade-off.
Wonderful. Sounds great to me. Thank you.
So the Lance is over back, sorry I took your time.
Well, you know, it's interesting because, like I was saying earlier, the court trials have told us a lot. Told us what boundaries were, what kinds of materials people had, what kinds of activities they had. You know, it tells you lots of things. And then you have museums that are set up different places, and of course LA has the bigger, more expensive, more funded museums that we have down here. So they ended up with a lot of our stuff, a lot of your stuff, a lot of my stuff. And see, we take possession of our museums, don't we? So our stuff is now in LA in some places, and one of the biggest places it is at the Gene Autry, actually Autry National Center. They've changed their name 4 times since they established themselves. Anyway, so they have a lot of our things because they went through San Pasqual Battlefield, and Gene Autry collected a lot of stuff down here when he was making movies.
And
Yes.
I warned you about that museum because in '63 we gave a box, a carton, with about 87 artifacts from the battle, and they lost the box. Yeah, so watch it.
It will come back, you know, maybe not in my time of yours, but someday somebody will walk in, here's a box I found, has it got anything important in it? Yes.
Did I miss anything about the early move-ins that moved into Pendleton? I was in the 3rd amphibian truck that, and we moved up to what they were calling the boat base on them. They were building a
So you were in the boat basin?
pier out there. There was one barracks under construction, and we were living in January, December 42, and January were the biggest weather problems San Diego had ever had at that time.
Were you one of the ones that marched aboard base in 42?
Say that again.
There was a group of men that were marched from Camp
No.
Elliott.
I was very lucky. I was a Jeep driver.
Were you in that
That's the
group?
truth.
From Camp Elliott to Camp Pendleton?
Yeah.
So you came aboard base at that same
Well,
time?
Camp Elliott was a big going thing then. Camp Elliott,
Yes.
which is non-existent now. But from
It's where Miramar is
yeah,
now.
from MCRD to Camp Elliott then, which is now Miramar Road, we hiked that probably 3 or 4 different times.
Oh, wow.
Wasn't that a
They
prison
never
at
told
one
us to
time?
look at me.
Excuse me?
Wasn't that a prison one time, Camp Elliott, over here?
I have no idea on that. That's something I don't know anything about. There's lots of things. Yeah, did you know that Al Capone tried to buy Camp Pendleton? Yeah, it was in the LA Times. You know, if you read the paper, it must be true.
Oh, yeah.
That's the only proof I had.
I was reading a book at the Rancho Bernardo Library a couple of years ago, and they theorized, or maybe it was more of a theory, that the reason that Forster married Pio Pico's sister was that he knew Pio Pico had this great big land grant, and there was a deed that was part of that lawsuit, and they were trying to figure out whether it was a deed or a mortgage or just what it was, but
Right.
Forster spoke English and was pretty conversant with legal terms, and Pio Pico really wasn't. So they kind of figured that maybe Forster manipulated 50% of the land out
There's
of there.
stories on both sides, and I've heard them both, but I still need to read some more. When I got to Camp Pendleton, the ladies had done some small research on the different characters and did the story for the tours, and they used to vilify Pico, you know. I mean, he talks about it in his own narrative. One of the first things he talks about is how he made money as a young man down in San Diego. He's trying to support his mama. He's living with his mama until he gets married. He lives with his mama. And he takes care of her. And very doting son. I mean, I wish my son was as doting. But anyway, so what he did is he made what I call jiggers. Didn't you call them jiggers? What do you call them? No, cups. Yeah, what else they call them? They call them shot glasses. Okay. And like early shot glasses, but he would make them out of bone. You know, horn, cow horn. And you make them, and then, you know, he would put extra horn down the bottom and some more wax and stuff and make it thick at the bottom, just like you see shot glasses the other day, right? And I'm wondering about that history, how those shot glasses were, why are they the way they are? But maybe it's because we're so drunk we knock them over. I don't know. But anyway, the bottom of the shot glasses, or these glasses that he would sell liquor at the counter of the bar, but they would have big, deep bottoms. And so you got a drink and you thought you bought quite a bit, but you got really half of what you saw. And that was how, but he tells about it in his book, and he tells about it in his narrative. If you haven't read his narrative, that's what I'm in the middle of reading now, and I'm excited. The other book that I was gotten excited about was Testimonios. If you have not read Testimonios, you must read Testimonios. Those are the stories of the women that didn't get put into the bankrupt. Because remember, women, okay? But because when they would go, well, the women were not allowed to talk or be, you know, in charge of too much. It was rare that a woman was in charge of anything back in Pico's day. So when Bancroft sent his guys around getting these histories, and he was very good to do that, they would go around and try to find the guys. If the guy wasn't there, you weren't there, you died, or you just weren't home, they would interview the woman. But those interviews did not end up in the book. So two people from up at Mission Santa Barbara studied those early documents that were gotten. Some were in Spanish, some were in English, some were badly translated into English at one time. These were Spanish majors, and they translated everything back, and they brought to us stories. These are great stories. If you haven't read that book, you must read it. Our two books are Rancho Santa Margarita Remembered by Baumgartner and Marines of the Margarita by Whitty and I can't think of the other gentleman's name. They're both former Marines who, one is still working for PBS down in San Diego, and the other one's still a freelance writer down in San Diego. And they go from the beginning of Camp Pendleton, before the beginning of Camp Pendleton, to partly through Vietnam era. So they're both very, very good resources.
It was Whitty and Neil Morgan.
Neil Morgan, thank you. I should know these things. I just have, my kid calls them old timers.
Sometimes.
Sometimes, yeah, sometimes, that's probably more that. Anybody else have a question? Or thank you so much. You've been great on this.